this word mental illness has been used as a weapon against people of color, and the weapon only works when you actually believe it. And we a lot of times tend to believe things other cultures tells us about ourselves than what we believe about ourselves. Can you talk to that, please?
Absolutely. And I love the way how you framed it. So let's talk about African movies. And I don't know how you've watched, right? But have you ever heard mental illness words used in African movies?
The few African movies I've seen, no.
No.
Not at all. Not. I mean, the few
So
I've seen.
the language? Where's the language coming from? Yeah.
Outside the culture.
So where's the language coming from? Yeah, outside of the culture. And remember, if we think about our African roots, we have healers, we have shamans, we have people, when we recognize that people's nervous systems aren't working well, that we create opportunities in the community to heal them. So even how we heal as an African culture looks different. Even how we hold space for each other looks different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we start to kind of dissect the nature of brain health and helping people to understand that, okay, let's look at what's going on in your lobes. You know, do you know the parts of the brain? Do you understand how food impacts the part of the brain? Do you understand how movement and the types of movements that you're doing are impacting the type of brain? Before I came to show with you, I was actually looking at some research in terms of that 90% of, there's one study in 2017 that looked at football players, and they donated their brains after they died. And 90% of the 207 brains had deficiencies going on in relation to being hit. What do most of our black males play? What do they grow up playing?
Football. Yep.
Trauma to the head. Trauma to the head will impair mood, will impair stability, and can impact your mental health and your brain health in a very large way. So it's larger than just an illness. And there are a lot of schools of thought that are trying to get people to have the conversation about, is this good for your brain? Is that toxic relationship with the person who wants to bust your window out your car good for your brain? Is drinking Hennessy every single night good for your brain? Now, if we approach it from the mental health, somebody will say, yeah, you know, I need that because I need to reduce my stress.
Mm-hmm.
But we're aware that these things aren't good for your brain. So if it's not good for your brain, it means that you can't make good decisions for your life.
You know what I think is ironic, that when you talked about the athletes, is that, you know, they are paid a lot of money to go out and play a sport that in later life may debilitate them in many different ways because of the constant hitting, you know, and the constant shots, you know, to the brain.
Yeah.
And people, and then when these people go through these circumstances where we've seen, you know, in the media, because of where it is now, though, you know, everything is on the media, you've seen where, you know, some of these guys have committed suicide. Some of these guys have had, you know, mental issues out in the public. Some of these guys have become aggressive, and nobody's going back to the root cause of how did they get there. So let's talk about getting help before it happens instead of talking about what help we need to get after it happens. What would be your prognosis for prevention of these type of things?
You're talking my language, right?